Hello, everybody. Happy Monday and happy 2024. It's been a long time since I've done a live stream. Apologies for that. I had a lot of Wi-Fi and internet issues, but I finally switched providers. So hopefully it is much better now. But yeah, a new year. Crazy. It's gone so fast already. We are already on like what is it today? The 8th of January. Madness. Where is the time going? But I hope you're all good. I hope you have all been following Palantir, Tesla, all the other stocks that we discuss on this channel. So I'm back. I'm back to give you the latest news, and I appreciate you guys being patient and joining. And there's a few things that we're going to talk about today. So we've got to talk about some things that are happening and have been happening with Palantir, some good things, some maybe not so good things, some things actually that I really want your opinion on. So I will make sure I mention what that is later on in the live. And then, of course, we'll have a look at the live chat as we always do. And we will see what Palantir stock is doing pre-market, because you know what happened in 2023? Palantir stock went absolutely crazy. We all know that as Palantir investors, we saw the price, our portfolios go up by a significant amount, especially if you had a lot of tech stocks. And if Palantir was one of those largest ones, it was incredible. 2024 so far, and the end of 23 actually, seems to be a lot slower. We've been, under the $16 range, which we haven't actually been at since November time-ish, I think it was. So it's a little bit of a new stage that we seem to be in. In my opinion, will this pick up? Yes. You've got to remember that the end of the year always comes with tax implications, people taking profit. There's just sometimes a natural slowdown. And with Palantir specifically, a lot of the catalysts that people were excited about, the momentum that was building, sort of dried up. So I think there's a reason to explain why it's slowed down and why it seems to be slower right now. But I think the people that are patient and understand that this is a long-term game, this is a long-term game for us Palantir investors. Those are the people that are going to stay in the market, that are going to keep adding, that are going to see the reward when the reward comes. When that shift happens, people will be rewarded financially. And I'm excited to see that. And, look, we have a lot of things happening for 2024 that we know about. I don't need to recap, but in case you're completely clueless, S&P 500 inclusion, whenever that happens, doesn't really matter when it happens, but when it does, that should be very positive. Titan contract, we have all these things aligned. But we also have, you've got to remember, the things we don't know, and we don't know what we don't know. We have no idea if in 2 weeks' time, Palantir announced a partnership that we never saw coming, that's absolutely ginormous and has massive implications for the sector that they partner with. We don't know. They could also announce that there's a new product that they're working on. That could completely change the direction of Palantir, like we saw with AIP. They could have a fantastic earnings. I think it's in February. During that earnings, they might actually tell us more about the monetization of AIP. That would be huge. So we don't know. We have to focus on what we know and the direction that they're working towards and how valuable of a company they are. Anyway, getting a little bit off track here, as I tend to do. I get very excited, as you guys already know. So the first thing that I want to talk about is I'm a bit fed up of having to constantly talk about what keeps happening. Okay, so with Palantir and with Tesla, and I'm sure it happens with a lot of other stocks, just obviously these are the two stocks that I follow every single day and I really do pay attention to. There always seems to be a new downgrade. There always seems to be a new expert, a new analyst that wants to say something negative about the company that we know so much about. And yeah, sure, sometimes those analysts have points. I won't say that they never do, because sometimes they do. And in the one we're going to look at in just a second, he does have one point. He does. But most of what they say, and this is actually very true of that whole Bitcoin ETF thing that we've been hearing about recently, most of what has been said is kind of irrelevant and kind of doesn't make sense. And it always leads me back to this question of, why are you picking this moment to say this stuff now? With this one in particular, and I'm going to share my screen. Let's have a look. Let's actually see what's going on here. So I'm sharing my X account. I'm sharing a tweet just because it's, I've already done the work to condense this into a little readable section. So we'll just look at this. But basically what happened is, once again, this company called Jefferies have released an analyst downgrade on Palantir. So his name was, what was it? Brent, I think it says somewhere here. Yeah, so his name here. And we'll take a look at his track record in just a minute. But he has basically said that there is a downgrade to Palantir stock to an underperform. So he now thinks that Palantir will underperform. And he has changed the price target from $18 a share. So I'm going to zoom in here slightly. $18 to $13. That is very significant. A $5 difference. It sounds really silly when I say it like that, like $5, but that's a big, big price target change. Then we ask ourselves, what on earth has happened in the fundamentals, in the strategy of Palantir that would cause you to say, I no longer think that Palantir is worth $18 a share. That's my price target. I now think actually it's only worth $13. Bearing in mind that Palantir stock right now is above $13. So actually what we're saying there, what he's saying there, I'm definitely not saying it, is that Palantir, we expect Palantir, if it was fairly priced, to be coming down to that $13 range. Why? Has anything happened? I can't think of anything, but let's just see what he has to say. So why was this downgrade given? Well, I put the top line. There is a concern that Palantir has rallied off of the back of AI euphoria. So let's just keep reading. This is him saying this is not me. While we believe the company has had an AI technology advantage while we do believe the company has an AI technology advantage in the long term, agree, we are concerned that the stock has rallied to unsustainable valuation levels, primarily on the back of this AI euphoria and retail trading momentum, with no clear monetization strategy. We are still fundamental fans and believe that the company has potential to gain share in the underpenetrated and large total addressable market, but think concern over top line growth will be the primary driver of stock performance over the next 12 months. What is he saying there? He's basically said that Palantir is a good company long term. However, the only reason that it's done well in the last 1 year sort of timeline is because it is piggybacked off of the whole AI hype. It would be very silly for any investor to talk about any AI-based stock and say that it hasn't benefited because of the AI hype that we've seen in 2023. Every single one has. So I'm not really arguing that it has rallied off the back of that, but I don't think that's the only reason. I don't think it is. There are some stocks for sure that have only done well because they've got some AI offering and AI went crazy. Those stocks will definitely be funneled out because they will fall and they will be given a fair valuation and all this stuff. I don't think that's the case with Palantir. I think it is a long-term valuable company, in my opinion. So yeah, he said unsustainable valuation levels, blah, 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 blah. I don't think, in my opinion, that warrants a downgrade from 18 to 13. Let me know what you think. Maybe a downgrade slightly, but 18 to 13 seems quite, steep. This bit here, right? No clear monetization strategy. I can't disagree with there being, I can't sit here and say there is a clear monetization strategy for Palantir, especially when it comes to AIP, because there's simply not. But we as a community, we have understanding and we have a clear insight into why that is. It is because they are picking to do that now. Delayed gratification, in the future they will turn it on. They're providing value up front. They want people to come on board to see the value to then pay later. We've spoken about this before, and actually what it's doing right now is it's growing their customer base intensely. AIP bootcamps, incredibly successful right now. So whatever they're doing does seem to be working. It does. Of course, they're a business and that will never last forever. We do need a monetization strategy. We do need to see these products monetized at some point, in my opinion. However, I am not so bothered right now if that happens right now. I'm happy to be patient. I'm happy to keep an eye on it, to wait, to see what happens. So yeah, but right now, all I'm focusing on are their products valuable? Are they expanding their reach? Are they reaching new markets, both physically, like geographically? Are they reaching new markets? And also, are they expanding in their total addressable market? Are they reaching healthcare? Are they reaching financials? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? Is it all growing? Are they growing on the enterprise side and the commercial side and the government side? Those are the things that I'm paying attention to. And I understand that they are doing this for a reason. But what else I want to point out here? So fine, he's done that, whatever. And then I found this. I think someone else shared this actually. This is just a little bit about him, and I'm sure he does great things as well, but I just saw this. Success rate 42%, average return negative 5.7. So the credibility maybe a little bit, maybe not there for that one. But it's definitely, it's interesting. But what really annoys me, what really annoys me is that time and time again, an analyst can just downgrade a stock with no real reason. It's not like he said, Palantir have shown us this new product. I do not think this is going to go anywhere. I am downgrading this stock because I actually thought before that it would go somewhere, new information. It's not going anywhere. They don't really seem to do that. It seems to be very not based on much new information, if that makes sense. And it's annoying because what that does is that just drags the stock down short term. Now, of course, that's good for us retail investors because we love some deals. We'll go and spend our money purchasing up them shares for a cheaper price. Fantastic. It is an opportunity for retail, sure. But I also start to question, why put that downgrade, that report out now? Why now? Because this stuff was all relevant before. This article could have come out after the Q3 earnings, because we didn't know, during that earnings call, people were hoping to find out about the monetization strategy. We didn't. So why are they doing it now, close to the next earnings call that could be very good and the stock price could go up, instead of a couple of months ago? Maybe I'm overthinking it, but you can see what I'm kind of saying here. Very interesting. So the next thing, let's turn this back into a positive conversation. Quickly, let me know if you were one of those investors, if you are one of those investors actually, because it still holds true, that have been purchasing Palantir shares recently whilst it's been under the $16 sort of dollar range. Drop me a comment. So the next thing, this is positive. Dan Ives, we know him, we love him. He is well established in the Palantir and Tesla community, and a few more as well. Very, very bullish guy on Palantir, on Tesla, on many stocks. He's the guy that wears the really bright, colorful outfits. He's the one that uses the Messi of AI, the golden child of AI, phrases like that. So he always has interviews. He's a very busy man. And he recently had an interview, and during that interview, he discussed Palantir. And he said something along the lines of, and I'm not going to play it. I haven't got it ready with me, but I'll just paraphrase. He basically said that the tech sector, is about to have its 1995 moment. And he's predicting, and it's just a prediction, that tech stocks will go up by 25% this year. He said that he believes, make your own judgment, obviously, don't ever just go by what an analyst says. Do your own research. It's very, very important. He said that Palantir is still very much a buy in 2024, and it is the best pure AI play. We've heard him say that before. We've heard him call Palantir the Messi of AI, the golden child or whatever. It's a pure play AI. We've heard all this before. But he specifies that the reason that he is so bullish, one of the reasons, I guess, and this is actually one of the reasons I'm really bullish as well, outside of their total addressable market, all this other stuff, is that Palantir have shown us as retail investors that they have been able to leverage their expertise and their knowledge and experience within the government sector, because they've been doing that a lot longer, remember. They've been doing that for decades. They have leveraged that into their enterprise vertical. And he's absolutely right. He is absolutely right. That's exactly what they've been able to do. And now what we're seeing is their commercial side really starting to take off. And, you know, hey, suddenly they've got this business with two verticals that are both very strong and both growing. That's powerful. He then said that he doesn't see a major AI deployment in 2024 whereby Palantir and Microsoft, I believe it was, weren't the go-to options. So he's putting Palantir under the same umbrella as Microsoft in terms of being the AI options. Probably agree with him there, actually. Then he said he believes, and this is just, again, you know, price targets are price targets. We can make them, we can put all of, you know, I'm making my own price targets and you put all of the stuff on a spreadsheet. You do all of this really, really in-depth research. And that's what they do as well, I'm sure. But you never really know what's going to happen. The market is pretty unpredictable at the best of times. But he is anticipating that Palantir in 2024 and into half of 2025, so between 12 months and 18 months, he believes Palantir stock will double. So he is anticipating that it reaches over that $30 threshold that a lot of us have been saying. I made a video fairly recently, definitely at the back end of last year, talking about how I see Palantir as a $25 to $30 stock at the end of this year, possibly based on this, if this gets ticked off. And he's kind of in agreement. He's saying double before the next 18 months are over. I think it's very possible. I think it's very, very possible. Okay, so now the main chunk of this video. Let's talk. Right. Obviously, we all know as Palantir investors that they had this massive, massive contract with the NHS to be the supplier of the FDP. It was, you know, really anticipated. It was long overdue. It was delayed. We had all these nuances with it that caused us a lot of stress as a Palantir community. We finally heard in, I want to say the 21st of November. If I'm spot on, I'm going to be happy about that because obviously that day meant a lot to me, clearly. Anyway, we finally found out, and then we started hearing more information that talked about how much Palantir are getting for it, what other businesses are involved, and we sort of had some further questions. Okay, well, we didn't anticipate this, but hey, it's still good because what this contract means, we're okay. All right, seems good. And then we've had the actual contract being released by the NHS, so the actual physical contract. And then there's been some articles that have come out talking about what was and wasn't in this contract. And I'm going to show you. We're going to actually take a look at it. So let me do that right now. We're not going to look at the whole contract, I promise you. So here it is. So this is the NHS website. You can literally go and do this after this live stream if you want to and actually take a look what it says, what it says for yourself. This was published December the 22nd. So this has been available for a little while now, but obviously it's been Christmas time, and I was going to say no one would be looking at Palantir and the NHS's contract over Christmas, but some of us would be. Anyway, so value of the contract, just over 182. Okay, fine. Published date, closing date, start date, the 22nd of November, 2023. And the contract end date, 15th of February, 2027, which is obviously between these two dates, a certain amount of years, but that can be extended. We'll talk about all that in a minute. So anyway, what we can start to see is that they have attached the contracts, and it says redacted 1 of 3, redacted 2 of 3, 3 of 3, so on. And the articles that have been put out about this since are basically saying that this contract is so heavily redacted in certain areas that it makes people question what on earth's going on. Oh, look, you can see here. The contract value is not a committed amount under the terms, blah, 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 blah. It could increase to a forecasted amount of 330 million pounds. This figure is also not a committed amount. So what that's saying is, you know, this could be extended. It could be a lot more money, which is good, So It finishes in February, like we saw, 2020, what was it, 7 or 8? 2027, but it could extend to 7 years as more NHS trusts actually join, and therefore the value of the contract could actually increase, as that is not yet set in stone. So that's just something that we're going to have to keep an eye on, to be honest. But I think, let me just check. I think it was this one. Let's open this. Let me just check that that's still sharing. Yeah, perfect. Okay, this is one of the sections of the contract. Look, there's nothing here. It is literally all, it's redacted, like in its entirety. Oh, there was a little bit there. Okay, some stuff here about insurance claims, insurance requirements. Okay, that section wasn't redacted. What about this one? Some information there that isn't redacted, but by and large, very, very heavily redacted. And there was also, is it this one? There was a particular section that was, okay, so this one isn't so redacted, but there is a section that is heavily redacted within this or within the next one. I think it's here. Okay, so we've got this. Okay, this is what I want to show you. This section is called Section 23, Protection of Personal Data. The supplier is, blah, blah, blah. You can read this bit. After this point, it starts getting redacted to the point where you pretty much can't see what's going on. Then it goes into the next section 24, which talks about publicity and branding. Not allowed to make any press announcements or publicize this agreement, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, the point is, the section that is all about the personal protection of data, the protection of personal data, is redacted. People did not like that, because what does that do? That feeds into this narrative of Palantir being a spy company, a secretive company, etc., etc. Now, what I wanted to ask you guys, as people that may have more experience and expertise with government contracts like this, is this normal? Is it normal to have such a heavily redacted contract to put out publicly and actually we don't have any worries here? Or is this really, really strange and actually it does require further digging? Because I'm going to dive into this a lot further, but I just wanted your opinion on as to whether this is actually expected anyway. In a previous job that I had, I used to help out the team that would basically remove information from, when you have a right to request any information a company has about you. They would do that with the company. Some of the information would have to naturally be redacted, and it wasn't redacted unnecessarily. It was literally because it was required to be redacted because of certain laws. So is that just what's happening here? And actually there's nothing that Palantir and the NHS are doing behind the scenes that they don't want the public to know about? Or is it that maybe something else is happening here? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Anyway, so that's kind of where my brain's at with Palantir right now. I'm very, very optimistic. I'm very eager to see what 2024 has in store for Palantir and therefore us as investors. Like I've said many times, this is a long-term hold for me. This is not something that I'm going to be selling out of in 2024 unless fundamentals change. Of course, there may be some profit taking and things like that happen naturally, but by and large, I'm not going to be selling out of the position completely. For some people, they would need an exit strategy and they would very much need to know at what points to take profits and at what points to completely remove the position, because their goals are coming up. Their timelines maybe and the goals that they want to reach are very different to mine, and that's okay. Everyone needs a strategy. But anyway, very, very excited about this. Let's see what's going on today, pre-market. Okay. So like I was saying, it was hovering under the $16 range, which it hasn't been doing for quite a while, a few months. Have people been buying? That's my first question. And secondly, look, pre-market $16.17, which means today may be the day that Palantir finally goes back up above that $16 range. It's all like little excitement because, to be honest, I don't really care if it goes up to 16 today, if it stays below 15 today, 16, sorry. Doesn't really matter to me. I'll just continue with my strategy. I have all my, in my mind, I know exactly what I'm buying, when I'm buying. this stock, my other positions. I share that all on my Patreon. But anyway, yeah, not too worrying. But it's a nice sign to see that the market's been a little bit kinder to us today, as it hasn't been recently. As I'm sure, like with my portfolio, you guys are also seeing it in your portfolio. All right, let's have a look at the live chat. Let's have a look. Excited to see what Palantir does this week. Yeah, me too. It's looking promising pre-market, but hey, that never really tells us what's actually happening. We'll have to see. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for a new partnership. I want something to be announced now that I can dive into and do some research into. First live dinner time chat this year. Yeah, it is for me. It is for me. Thank you. Appreciate that. The Christmas tree has been replaced here with a light that I can now change, but I quite like this blue. I may mix it up sometimes and have an orange light, a pink light, whatever, but I like it. Thank you, Colin. No worries at all. No worries. By the end of 2024, I think Palantir could be around $25 per share. Yep, that's kind of my expectation. Maybe like, look, there's so many things that I've got a hair in my eye, I think. There's so many things that the stock needs to do, the company needs to do in order to grow into that, in my opinion, but they are on the right track. And I do see that happening. But that the words that I'm saying right now could very much change in a week. They could change in a month. I could get more bullish, less bullish. These things change. People have to be adaptable. The best investors in the market, which I'm learning, I've been studying a few different investors recently, and I'm very much learning that those that can adapt and be flexible are the ones that see the best outcome. John, hey, welcome. Thank you for being here. 19 end of year, 35 end of year. That would be very nice. Very, very nice. Maybe he wants to buy some. Maybe he does. I wish we could. Do you know what would be? I don't know. I feel like this should be a law. If you are a public company or you're a company that are putting out price targets and downgrades to a stock, that then that stock could fall or go up because of your price targets. I think you should absolutely have to share what your portfolio has and what moves you're making. I think so. Oh, my belly's rumbling now. I'm hungry for some more Palantir shares. Greetings from Florida, New Zealand, Australia. Thank you for being here, guys. I got a bunch under 16. Not my entire allocation for Palantir, though. I'm hoping it fills the gap to the high 14s that was created after earnings last year. Yeah, if earnings are promising, if earnings are optimistic, if earnings are as good as they were the last ones that we got, who knows what the stock price could do, especially short term. Really, it could go crazy short term. Doesn't mean it's going to stay there, of course. And what's going to happen if it's slightly not so good, but it's decent? Will people be selling out? Retail investors that are really hoping this is their way to retire, within 4 months, maybe they'll sell out and it will cause it to drop. I'm still adding to my position a bit each week or two. I'm only adding to my position. Oh yeah, sorry, I just read that. It only takes one big announcement for it to move. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Any of these growth stocks, these big tech, these AI stocks, you can't try and predict what's going to happen. You can definitely try and see how the macro and how different catalysts that are coming up are going to influence it. For sure, I think you can do that. But like you've said, you don't know what's coming. We don't know what we don't know. And then it makes you think, okay, well, should I FOMO into this? No, emotions in investing are bad. But you should absolutely have a strategy in place to follow. I've doubled down on my DCA on Palantir dollar cost average as it's dropped. Seems like a very, very logical strategy there. Looks like my tax return. Exit strategy end of 2025. I'd hope for $50 by 2025. Okay, yeah. Again, who knows? Who knows what it could do? It would be cool if you could go through exit strategies one time. Yeah, if that's something that people want, like that is a lot. It's a lot to talk about because everyone's situation is so different. But I could definitely share maybe, yeah, I'll think about this because it is important that people, everyone in the long-term investing community talks about buy and hold, and that's it. But at some point, for some investors, that timeline will be coming up where they need to actually think about what money they have and take, their life to the next stage, the next level. It isn't going to be that everyone wants to buy a stock and hold it for the rest of their life and then pass it on to their kids. Not everyone's in that situation. Some people, a lot of people that are investing are there to gain their financial freedom, to make their lives better, to basically make money, and a lot of it. And of course, people want to do it as quickly as possible. But even if that's going to happen in 10 years' time, as long-term investors, 20 years' time, you still need an exit strategy. You still need to take profits when you should, so on and so forth. So it's important. I see a very good year for AI stocks again this year. Me too. I think, think of an S curve, right? Like this. That's an S curve. What was I saying? Yeah, think of an S curve. The AI revolution, if the S curve's like this, is here. Like we are so early. This isn't going anywhere in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. This is the new way of life, and we will only be shifting gradually towards that. So yeah, definitely. I think so too. Okay, it's just past the half an hour mark, so I will start wrapping this up soon. Hello from the North Pole. Amazing. Do I have a video explaining what Palantir actually do? Yes, I do have a video. I will find it for you now. It is called, let me link it for you. If you've got any questions about Palantir, though, if it's really confusing for you, come and join the Patreon. We've got loads of people in there that invest in Palantir. We can talk about what they do, Bullish, etc., etc. So here it is, anyone. It's called Palantir in less than 9 minutes for beginners. So the whole point of this video when I created it, and it was created 2 months ago, so my understanding has only increased since then. And there would be things that I would explain a little bit differently maybe if I was to make this video again, but it's a very good starting point. I wanted to make that to explain what Palantir does and their business structure at a very, very, very high level in such a small amount of time, explained simply so it's accessible, because Palantir is so confusing. So confusing. And look, I've put so many hours into understanding this, and I'm only like, I've still got so much to learn. So if this can even help you start your journey to understanding what Palantir does, then that is a job well done, in my opinion. So I hope it's helpful. I hope you stick to your experimental portfolio till the end of 6 months without making changes to the crypto miners you had. Okay, so this is an experiment that I'm doing on my second channel called Stock Speak. So go and check that out if you haven't already. I've selected 5 companies, put them into a portfolio, added money into that portfolio, decided on the allocation, and I'm trying to make money within that portfolio. It's fun. It's an experiment. It's money I can afford to lose. Not too concerned. But anyway, yeah, so my plan is to absolutely leave the crypto miners. I might change one of them. If you saw the video last night, you'll know what I'm speaking about. Might shift one of them slightly, but absolutely I'll be leaving them for now. And any changes that I make will be shared on Patreon and at some point on the channel too. Fundamental of investing, buy low, sell high. The profit taking seems logical at the top point of a curve. Yes, you don't make any money in investing, nor do you lose any money in investing until the point that you sell. You put money in, you leave it alone, it goes up, it goes down. Until you've sold, you've taken the profit, you don't realize those gains or losses at all. It's just sitting there waiting for you to decide what to do. So being a long-term investor, like I was saying, is what I want to be and what I am, and exactly what all of us are, I'm sure. But we do have to know when we want to take profit to enhance our businesses, to change our lifestyle, to live on, whatever it may be. And for some people, you'll be very lucky and you'll never have to touch your portfolio and you'll make money other ways, and that really can just sit and compound and grow. But even those people, at some point, will need to take the profit or, hand it on to the next generation. With that said, let's round it up here for today, guys. Keep an eye on the community post to find out when I'm live, and I'll also put it over on X. Appreciate you all being here as always. Glad to be back. Thank you for your continued support, and have a great rest of your Monday, everyone. Speak to you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.